We're going to work backwards now as to compare to what we had just got doing. We just got finished distributing a monomial times binomials, and we're going to kind of go in the other direction with factoring by greatest common factor. So the steps to factor by GCF is the first you need to find the biggest number that you can divide each term in. So look at each number, each coefficient, and see what the biggest number you can divide each of those numbers by. If you have the same variable in each term, you want to take the lowest exponent available out of each term. So for instance, if we have 12x squared plus 2x, x's are common in both, my lowest exponent would be the 1, so we would take out an x. And then you want to divide each term by the GCF that you just picked. So for example, I have 5x to the third plus 15x. So first thing I want to look at is my coefficients. I have a 5 and I have a 15. The biggest number I can divide 5 and 15 by is 5. Then I need to look at my variables. I have an x to the third and I have an x. So out of my exponents, the lowest one between those two would be my x to the first. So I can only take out one x. So now I want to take each term and divide it by that GCF. So 5x to the third, I would do 5 divided by 5, which is 1. I have 3 x's here, and I'm taking one of those x's out. So if I have 3, I'm taking one out, that means I have 2 left over. Then I want to do 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then in the original problem, I have 1x, and I took that 1x out, so I don't have any left. So it should be just plus 3. Now how you check yourself is we use the distributive property like we did before. Alright, so this is the answer that I want, but to check myself, distribute the 5x. So I do 5 times 1 is 5. I have 1x here, 2x's here, so that gives me 3x's total. And then I do 5 times 3, which is 15. I have 1x here, no x's here, so that gives me just 1x total. And you notice that this matches my original problem. So therefore, I factored it completely incorrectly. So to look at the second one, 15x minus 3y. I need to look at my variables, or at my coefficients first. I have a 15 and I have a 3. The biggest number I can divide 15 and 3 by is 3. Right, to look at my variables, I have an x in this one, a y in this one. Since I don't have an x in both of them or a y in both of them, I can't take any variables out. So my greatest common factor in this one is just going to be 3. So now I need to take each term and divide it by 3. So I have 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then you just leave the x. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. And you just leave the y. So for this problem, we have 3 terms. So I need to look at my coefficients, 16, 4, and 20. The biggest number I can divide each one of those by would be 4. And then I need to look very closely at all my variables. Right? To make sure I have x's and y's in both of them. So that means I can take out at least one x and one y. So now I need to look at my exponents. My exponents for x, it would be 1, 3, and 3. So therefore my smallest exponent is just 1, so I can only take out one x. So look at my y's, my exponents would be 1, 3, and 6. So once again, my smallest exponent is just 1 without y. So that's all I can take out for the variables. So now divide each term by that. So I'm going to do 16 divided by 4 is 4. I have one x. I take that x out, so I don't have any x's left. I have one y. I take it out. I don't have any y's left. On to my next term. I would do 4 divided by 4, which is 1. I have 3 x's. I take one of them out. That means I have 2 left. And y's. I have 3 y's. I take one of the y's out. That means I only have 2 left. And then last, I want to do 20 divided by 4, which gives me 5. I have 3 x's. I took one of them out. That means I only have 2. I have 6 y's. I took one of those y's out, so that means I have 5 left. Go ahead and pause the video and do the first you try. So the first thing you want to look at is the 3 and the 18. The biggest number I can divide 3 and 18 by is 3. Then you look at your x, make sure you have x's in both, which I do. So the smallest exponent I have would be just x. So my GCF would be 3x. And then divide each term by it. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. I have 2 x's here. I'm taking one of those x's out. So therefore I only have 1 x left. Then I'm going to do 18 divided by 3, which is 6. I have 1 x. I take that x out. That means I don't have any. Go ahead and pause and do the last you try. Right. Biggest number I can divide 25, 15, and 5 by would be 5. I have x's in all of them. My smallest exponent is x to the first, so just x. I have y's in all of them. My smallest y exponent is 1, so that's all I can take out, just a 1. Then divide each term. 25 divided by 5 is 5. I have 4 x's. I take out one of those x's, so I only have 3 left. I have 1 y. I took that y out. I don't have any y's left. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. I have 1 x. I take that x out. I don't have any left. I have 3 y's. I take 1 y out. So I have 2 left. And then negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. I have 1 x, took it out, don't have any left. I have 1 y, took it out, put it out front, don't have any y's left. So I can close my parentheses. So when you're looking for a greatest common factor, find the biggest number that you can divide each term by, and then if every term has the same variable in it, look for the lowest exponent of that variable.